Shortbread is one of my must-have cookies for the holidays, so I'm kicking off this year's 12 Days of Christmas cookies with this simple recipe. It's so buttery it melts in your mouth, and to me it tastes just like Christmas. And this year, I'm giving my shortbread a couple upgrades to make it extra special for the holidays. Let's get started. You can bake this in either a square or a round cake pan. For a round pan, I recommend using one with a removable bottom like this, or a springform pan would work well too. Lightly grease your pan with some baking spray or a little butter. If you're using a square pan, make a parchment sling so it's easy to remove the shortbread. For a round pan, trace around it onto a piece of parchment and cut it out inside the line so you don't transfer the markings onto the shortbread. Line the bottom with the parchment circle. I'm adding vanilla seeds to the dough to make these extra special for the holidays, but you can use a teaspoon of vanilla extract instead to cut down on the cost. Split the bean lengthwise and use the side of the knife to scrape out the seeds. Rub them into the sugar with your fingertips to disperse them evenly. And don't toss out the empty pod, pop it into your sugar container so it all gets infused with vanilla. Put some room temp butter and the vanilla sugar into the bowl of a stand mixer. Mix them together on low speed until smooth and creamy. Unlike most cookie recipes, you're not trying to make the butter and sugar light and fluffy, which can mess with the texture of the shortbread. Next, add the all-purpose flour and salt. Mix on low just until everything comes together. You want it to be well combined with no visible pieces of butter left, but you also don't want to overwork the dough where it could end up tough instead of nice and tender. Press the dough down into the pan with your hand until it's nice and even. Use a knife or bench scraper to score it into equal pieces. Just press it into the dough about 1/4 inch deep. For a square pan, I like to make 16 bars, 2 rows of 8, and for a round pan, I'll score it into 16 wedges. Feel free to divide yours up however you like though. Use a toothpick to poke several holes in each piece. This helps the heat reach all the way through the dough so the shortbread bakes evenly. It also gives it that classic Scottish shortbread look. Bake the shortbread at 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 165 degrees Celsius until it's just barely turning golden, about 35 to 40 minutes. Let it cool in the pan for about 5 to 10 minutes, then carefully slide it out of the pan onto a cutting board while it's still warm and cut along the score lines. It's important to cut shortbread while it's still warm so it cuts cleanly. The shortbread is great as it is, but to dress it up for the holidays, I want to dip these in some chocolate. I'm going to show you how to make a simple chocolate dip that stays nice and glossy after setting without needing to temper it. I use 100 grams of chocolate to 1 teaspoon of neutral oil. Grapeseed, canola, or corn oil all work great. Mix those in a small microwave-safe bowl and microwave in 30-second bursts, stirring between each one. I like using milk or white chocolate for this so the flavor doesn't overpower the buttery vanilla shortbread. I find that dark chocolate is a little too strong. Chop your freeze-dried fruit or nuts into small bits perfect for sprinkling onto the chocolate. You can use any freeze-dried fruit, nuts, or sprinkles you like. To dip, there's no need to dunk the shortbread into a deep container of melted chocolate. I like to just hold one end over the bowl and use a spoon to sweep the chocolate about halfway up the side. Put it on a lined baking sheet and sprinkle on your topping of choice. For wedges, you could either coat the narrow part of the wedge in chocolate or half of the wedge from top to bottom. White chocolate dip is made in the exact same way, and I think it goes really well with chopped salted pistachios. By the way, what would you dip your shortbread in? Drop a comment and let me know what your dream chocolate and topping combo would be. You might have some leftover chocolate or toppings in the end. I like to just mix it all together, spread it out onto a lined baking sheet, and pop it into the freezer until it sets. It basically turns into bark, so you get a bonus chef's snack that makes sure none of your ingredients go to waste. There you go! Buttery, classic Scottish shortbread with a couple simple upgrades to make them a little extra. This recipe is part of my 12 Days of Christmas cookies for this year. If you want more holiday cookie inspiration, check out this playlist and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.